Today's episode, powered by Hayabusa, is all about 5 daily habits you should be doing as a martial artist. In today's video, we're talking about habits as a martial artist, and I'm going to give you 5 different tips that you should be doing. A lot of them are about lifestyle. Yes, it's important to, 1, practice your martial art, practice the skill, and what you do inside of the training room is important. But you have to remember that might be an hour, 2 or 3 hours of the day. But a big problem which happens is the stuff that happens outside of training, about our recovery, even sitting and watching TV. You're sitting, you're putting your spine in a bad position, which then when it's time to train, you have lower back pain, your hamstrings become tight, you're not activating your glutes. So there's a lot of problems that we're not doing outside of the training room that'll make you a better martial artist. Remember, there's different sides to being a martial artist. The first side is 1, competition. You're a fighter. You're trying to get in there, win, become world champion, and that's a big side of it. But another side of martial arts is just living a daily life of it, being it, walking, waking up like it, just interacting with people. A martial artist, lives their life with respect, honesty. We respect each other in the community really well. So there's the difference. But when you're practicing these daily habits, you got to remember that is what's going to impact your training. Those bad daily things add up over time. They're like repetition cycles. So one of the things I've been studying, for example, is footwork. And with footwork, if you're always walking, I had flat feet my whole life. So if I'm continually walking with collapsed arch, each step I take is just damaging my knee, damaging my hip, putting strain on my lower back. So I have to fix those little things in my body to help me become a better martial artist when it's time to train. So let's get into the first habit I believe that will make you a successful martial artist, and that is a sleep and wake schedule. You need to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. If you go to bed at the same time, you know how you feel when you wake up. If it's so sporadic and you're all over the place, it's really hard to know how you're going to feel. So by going to bed every day, it builds that consistency in your routine and in your training. And to me, consistency and routine is one of the biggest factors you need to be a successful martial artist. So planning your sleep schedule and your wake schedule is really important. Now, back to schedule routine. Another important factor is the way you plan your training. So it's as a martial artist, you need to know when you train. So you wake up, you know your training time, and you know when you're going to sleep. And everything's pre-planned. If you're going in to learn and to think, you can't think, who's going to be at training? When am I going to train? How am I training? By pre-planning the week before, it's really important. Tell your training partners, the time you guys are going to meet. So having consistency in the routine is important. But also knowing when you're going to train and being routine and consistent, it also allows you to plan your meals out accordingly. So to be a good martial artist, you need to be full of energy to be able to perform. So if you know your training time is at 12, to make sure you get your meals in, your nutrition, your carbohydrates a few hours before training so you can perform optimally when you are training. So pre-planning the training as well as your meals before and your meals after. You need to eat to recover, to replenish, right? So knowing all of that information about when you're sleeping, when you're waking up, how you're training, when you're eating, puts your life together in without guessing. You don't want to have to guess what you're going to eat, how you're going to eat. Pre-plan the week, pre-plan your food, pre-plan your training. Now, another thing that I add to my daily routine, and this is one of the most important you can do, those who've trained martial arts when you're young and now being older, I've been doing martial arts for 30 years. When I was 10 years old, I have pictures of me doing side splits on 2 chairs, fully out. Now, it's a little bit more difficult. I do a little bit more strength and conditioning. I have done less mobility over the years, but now I'm bringing it back. I feel my kicking is better, my back, my mobility, injuries through the career, all start feeling a lot better. So building in a daytime and a nighttime mobility session is important. I know a lot of us sit there and we get our foam rollers and our lacrosse balls before training and literally spend 5 minutes. That is not enough. Wake up. I wake up and to be honest, my body is very stiff. I'm very tight. I can't move very well. My knees are sore. It's from years of training. And the day before, guess what? As a martial artist, I pushed myself. I trained as hard as I could in the weight room. I performed as hard as I could in my kickboxing training. So I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and I'm pushing my body. I need that adaptation to happen. You know, part of my training still is to keep and maintain my size and my muscle mass. So a lot of times I perform high repetition, time under tension to try to build my muscle. So I get sore, and the recovery and that consistency with my mobility helps me be able to recover and train the next day. Now, one of the other things I've started adding, part of my stretching routine in the mornings and night, is red light therapy. And red light therapy has been great because, one, it helps with the body pain and the inflammation. It's good at naturally boosting testosterone, good for aging. And one of the things I'm scared of is losing my hair. So apparently it's helping with treating hair and keeping everything nice and young. And I'm about very soon going to be turning 36. So that's something that I need to keep my body. And all these young martial artists are coming up, 18, 19 years old. And even at my age, I need to be able to compete and stay at that level. So introducing the red light therapy as well mixed with my yoga all helps me kind of create a good environment to recover. And the red light therapy that I've been using is Rouge Care, and I'll leave the description below, as I use them twice a day in my morning and my night training. Okay, so now another thing you have to do as a martial artist to feel good is being able to get your water in. And I know it's really difficult to sit there and drink your water, but plan it out, okay? Make sure, have a goal daily that you need to meet. So the daily goal for me is at least 3 liters of water. With my training, when you're sleeping, when you're talking, you're all releasing water. So what you need to do is you need to replenish that water. So make sure you find that minimum. I like to have about 3 liters. Plan it out. I like to have 500 milliliters in the morning before I even have my morning coffee. Then while I'm training, after training, so you need that constant water. One trick that I suggest, if you have a hard time getting that water in, buy one big jug. You know, either a 3-liter, 4-liter jug, or have bottles all planned out, and then slowly kind of see visually how much more you need to drink. But your water just going to help you the way you think, the way you move, the way you recover. Everything has to do with making sure you're well hydrated. So as a martial artist, I highly recommend you make sure you get at least 3 liters in a day. Now, one of the last things that I like to do, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult for those who are in the pandemic right now and can't get to gyms, but I make a daily habit and a daily routine of throwing 100 kicks a day per side. And for me, one, it's just mentally, it's a mental challenge every day. Is it difficult? No. But what it's doing is making sure my hips are nice and loose. I'm extending, I'm getting on my calves. And a lot of it is about flexibility, stretching out, making sure I turn my kicks over. It's also keeping my shins very strong. If you just go spar without kicking pads all the time, you lose, you gain that sensitivity back and it hurts. So by doing those 100 kicks, keeping the blades nice and sharp, it lets you kind of, when you do spar or when you do pads again, it just makes sure your bones are nice and strong and everything is desensitized nicely so you can really smash your kicks. But ultimately for me, it's about loosening up, opening up, and I like to throw them in different levels. And in the near future, I'll create a video on how I throw my 100 kicks a day. So there is my rant on 5 important habits you should be doing as a martial artist, and those are my main 5 that I like to do. I am someone of routine and structure, and I feel that that was one of the biggest things that I have in my career that kind of really benefited me to becoming a world champion. You should never guess when you're training. You should know what you're eating, when you're eating, for energy for training, how you replenish, to the water, to your mindset. I mean, there's even more. I mean, I'll add more. Some of them is like I do daily reading. I do daily breathing. I do cold showers. I like to take Epsom salts baths. So there's so many other things that I like to do, but I think these are the most important. So structure, routine, discipline, and making sure your nutrition is there. Hips are loose. This is kickboxing, right? So one, martial artist is about living a healthy lifestyle. Competition and healthy lifestyle can try to be merged together, and that's what I'm trying to teach you guys. So hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you continue to like the video sponsor at HAYABUSAFight.com. Check out their Hayabusa boxing gear, as they're my personal favorite with the knuckle and wrist protection. Also, Perfect Sports Nutrition, link below will give you 20 off. Bazooka merchandise, right? bazookashop.com if you like the tank tops and any of the merch I'm wearing in the videos. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and we'll see you next time here at Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA.